we'll do brief non-spoilers, and then we'll go into spoilers. There aren't a lot.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about this film. I'm looking forward to it. My expectations for this film were kind of lowish going into it, but I want to say, by the end of it, I was definitely pleasantly surprised, and I don't know about you, but yeah, we can just go ahead and dive in. Why not?
Yeah, I guess before we talk about the movie itself, you haven't seen any of the movies leading up to this, right?
Correct. Well,
Godzilla,
disclaimer.
Kong Skull Island, and then Godzilla, King of the Monsters are the three that precede this one.
Yeah. So just a disclaimer for all of our listeners. Yeah, I think Dylan and I are definitely coming at this movie from a little bit different standings, because I've only seen the first Godzilla film in this whole series here. I haven't seen Kong Island. I haven't seen the second Godzilla. So I'm a little bit behind story-wise. But Dylan, haven't you seen a little bit more?
I've seen all of them, actually. Oh. And I think both Godzilla movies leading up to this one are fine. I think Kong Skull Island is actually quite good. And I think the biggest failing of all of these movies except Kong Skull Island is the human side of the equation. And I know a lot of people are like, the human characters don't matter. Don't show me human characters. Just have Godzilla and King Kong fighting, or monsters fighting. And I don't agree with that, because these are movies, and they need characters with storylines to carry you through a 2-hour feature. Like, I don't know about you, but I will get bored if it's just a giant monkey and a giant lizard punching each other for 2 hours. That's great for 20 minutes, but
if that's the entire 2-hour film of them just boxing several times.
Yeah, it's like, it's not a YouTube video. This is a movie, so you need the human element in there, which is why I think of this kaiju genre, in modern era at least, the best one is Pacific Rim. Because
and I've only seen the first Pacific Rim. I haven't seen the second one. But
don't bother. The second one's not good. But the first Pacific Rim, it's like, it has all of that cool action, but the characters, while pretty paper thin, are memorable enough, and they're fun. Like, and they play off of each other well. Like, the story isn't about robots punching monsters. It's about the people piloting the robots, or mechs, I guess. And that's what makes it work, I think. But I guess now we could talk about the movie itself. Non-spoiler. Like I said, there are not a ton of spoilers in this movie. You're pretty much, what you see is what you get, with two exceptions, I would say, towards the end. But we'll get into that later. General thoughts. What did you think?
Like I said a little bit earlier there, my expectations were definitely low going into this movie, because I'm not a big monster movie guy. I haven't seen any of the original Godzillas, or I saw like the Peter Jackson King Kong, and that was pretty neat. But these movies just really aren't my jam. But I definitely was surprised by the quality of the film as it was going along. I was like, okay, this is kind of growing on me, and I enjoyed it after all. And by the end of the film, I was like, yeah, that was fun. That was a fun use of 2 hours. And if you're looking for like a movie that's just like a clobber fest of two monsters, this is it. This is just going to be two big old baddies just hitting each other around and destroying cities. And that's exactly what the movie tells you it's going to be about, and that's exactly what the movie is about too.
Yeah, I would say, regardless of overall thoughts of the movie that either of us have, like, it 100% delivers on what it promises you. It promises
absolutely
Godzilla and King Kong are going to fight each other, and they do a lot, and that's executed well. It's shot in a way that's clear and you can understand what's going on. A lot of it's during the day too, which is neat.
Yeah.
A lot of these big fights end up happening at night, and that is, if you're less in the film bubble than we are, it's like a lot of big action scenes are shot at night because it's easier to disguise not stellar CGI when the scene is darker, and that's why a lot of movies end at night. That's part of it.
Yeah,
so,
of course.
They can cut corners a little bit more on the special effects, which is fine. These things are very expensive. But there's some big action scenes during the daytime, and they look good.
Yeah, overall, yeah, they do. They look great. The CGI, of course, there's a lot of CGI in this film because it's two gigantic monsters fighting each other. I think the CGI looked a lot better than the old King Kong movies and with the little stop motion animation,
motion and rear screen projection. I'd like to watch some of the old Godzilla and King Kong movies. I have not watched any of them, shamefully. The only movies about these characters I've seen are the ones of this franchise, actually, embarrassingly enough. But I would say, yet again, the weakest element of this movie is the human characters.
Unfortunately.
They're fine. Like, Millie Bobby Brown and the kid from Deadpool 2 are on their little adventure, and that's okay. And the other, like, conspiracy guy that's with him, he was kind of fun a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're like two sets of human characters in this movie, and they don't know each other, and they never interact, and it's kind of like I don't know. And there's potential for all of these characters to do interesting things, but they just don't really. They're just kind of vehicles to move Kong and Godzilla around. Which
I kind of had a similar thought, without getting too far into the spoilers just yet, but when by the end of the movie, if you're following Millie Bobby Brown's character and what they're doing.
And just so you know, she is from Godzilla 2. She's in that movie.
Right.
So is Kyle Chandler, who
I figured as much.
Yeah, they're characters from the previous movie. All the characters from the Kong side are not. They're new characters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The only carryover characters, I think, are Millie Bobby Brown and Kyle Chandler.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree that it felt like she didn't have a lot to do in this movie. It felt like she was just kind of like a vehicle to push the plot along to say, yes, break into the facility and make this discovery, like very kind of push the plot along. You don't have much to do. And even there at the end, it was just kind of like, I'm just standing here watching the final fight.
Well, yeah, because I can't do anything.
Have much to do.
Yeah, and that being said, she didn't have much to do, but she also had the most to do of any character in the movie. So that's
I guess that's kind of true. Yeah, because she needed to be there for helping out the ending and saving the day in a way.
I guess they do. It's
kind of hard to talk about this movie.
Yeah, it's time to talk about spoilers, I think. But I would say the movie delivers on what it promises, Kong vs. Godzilla, but it delivers on little else.
Yeah, so. I would agree. It's a good clobber fest, like we said before. But yeah, it's a little not focused on the human characters at all.
It's fun to watch though. I enjoyed it.
And it was a blast.
And we'll talk about it, I guess, more in spoilers, but it's very short, and it felt to me that there were significant portions of it that were definitely cut out, both in terms of probably entire storylines or entire scenes, but also it felt to me that certain scenes were trimmed a little too tight. Like the pacing just felt a little off to me.
Yeah, I would absolutely agree. I definitely felt like the first 30 minutes of the film, I had like issues with the pacing of it. It just felt like it was jumping from like one thing to the next really quickly, and it was like, here's some letters on the screen, here's like where the scene is, and then the scene lasted like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
so, like we have to jump off to this other place to establish other characters. The pacing definitely it got better as the film went on, I would say, but yeah, I would agree that it felt like trim. Like
it definitely gets more focused as it gets towards the climax. Because things start to converge, but for a while it's not very it's very jumpy, like you said.
Kind of like this podcast.
Hey, should we do spoilers?
Yeah, let's just dive into the spoiler part now.